All right, this is a Carvin SB5000. As you can see, it's pretty fancy. It has bird's eye maple fingerboard, abalone position inlays. Now, it has a 2-band EQ. It has a passive tone knob. As you can see, it's pulled up. That means it's in the passive position. You push it down. That's in the active position. Then it has volume for the neck and the bridge pickup. Now, these pickups are in the 70s position. So that means this is about a little bit less than half of an inch closer to the bridge than on a 60s style J bass, which is the most common setup. The 70s position is more aggressive and is usually the one favorite by slap folks. Anyway, now this is a full-size jazz body, although it's not a jazz body copy. As you can see, this is the SB5000, the Sekou Bunch model, with the upswept wing and the upswept top wing and the downswept bottom wing. And so it's more of a flared shape than a normal jazz. Like, for instance, this is Squire Classic Jazz, and you can look at the body shape on that as opposed to this, and you can see where the SB5000 has a different shape compared to a standard Fender jazz body shape. Now, this was a bass I got last year after I sold my Skyline Daryl Jones 5, which was a really great bass. I kept that bass for about 5 years. But then one of those weird things that happens sometimes when you read too much about stuff as opposed to just playing. After 3 years really being happy with that bass, I decided that the front to back neck thickness was too much, and I wanted a bass with 19 millimeter spacing like the Daryl Jones, but with a thinner front to back neck. This one does have a thinner front to back neck than the DJ5, which I no longer have, so you have to take me at my word for that. However, once I got it, I realized that the nut was skinnier than it was on the Daryl Jones, and significantly skinnier than on my Padula, which has a nut like a Sadowski. And so therefore, all of a sudden, I found myself not liking this bass, and actually let it go for a while. But then eventually, got it back. And I have to admit that it's taken me a while, but I think I've gotten used to it. And it's a very good active jazz bass. Now, the one thing about it sounds very good passive. Now, right now, let's see, it's in the passive setting now. And now it's active with everything flat. And it sounds pretty much the same, it's just a little bit louder. Now let's give it a treble boost. See? Or is it? Let me see. I thought that was a treble boost. Yeah, that's the treble boost I gave. This is a treble boost. Let's see. Let's see. I didn't have the passive tone turned up. Here we go. The passive tone is turned up, and the treble's turned up. And so it's nice and crispy. Now we'll boost the bass a little bit. And so you can see it's a pretty crispy little jazz tone. And so, you can do a little market stuff with it, which, makes sense with a jazz bass with pickups in the 70s position. But anyway, it also sounds good with the back pickup solo. Now, let's see now. Let me turn on the active treble a little bit. Or let's goof around for a little bit. But I suspect it's even better passive. And so, I'm not the best at getting a Jocko tone on a fretted basis, but it does have a good back pickup tone. Now, I don't usually solo the front pickup, but we'll just see what it sounds like. Let me put it back on active again. Let's see. Turn down that bass a little bit. Anyway, so that's the front pickup solo. I mean, really, to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of the J pickup with the front pickup solo too much. I mean, I would just as soon get a P bass. If I'm going to do the one pickup in the sweet position, I'd rather have the split pickup. With that mid focus, I think it's a tighter sound than what you get with the front pickup. I prefer either both pickups or only the back pickup when I'm doing a jazz style bass. Now it has a very solid B string. Now let's see. It's a little bit. Let me turn this so you can see things a little better. Not too much light that way, but that's low B. Anyway, hopefully Fred Hammond won't get too mad at me butchering this song there, but that gives you an idea about the low B. Now, the one thing about this bass, compared to the old DJ5, which was really my gold standard for reasonably priced 5-string jazz basses, the one thing that's really a big adjustment is that this is a really full-size jazz bass body. It's really big, and the DJ5, it had the big old neck with the wide spacing, but the body was relatively small. This is a full-size body, and it's a full-size weight. It's 10.1 pounds, so it's not a lightweight bass. And it's a full-size body, and, it has some contouring here, but the edges are pretty sharp. Down on the bottom side, there's not any contouring here. There's kind of a tummy tuck here, but, the bottom part could probably use a little bit of contour that it doesn't have. And like I said, so it's a physically large bass, which, compared to the Badula, compared to the old DJ5, compared to my standard jazz over here, it's the size is kind of noticeable. And so that takes some getting used to. But, I'm of the opinion that when it comes to basses, sometimes you just have to decide you're going to get used to something, because if not, you're always switching back and forth, and instead of actually getting good on the instrument, because there's always going to be something to complain about. So, that's one reason why I've decided to stick with this bass, because it's a good bass, has a good tone, gets all kind of good sounds. 10 pounds is not bad, and well, right now with the pandemic, my only playing is in the den, when the wife and kids aren't watching TV, and Lord willing, if I see it on the other side of this, I'll be back in church playing, and I sit in church. I'm not jumping up and moving around, and so a 10-pound bass is not a deal breaker for me, because, like I said, I'm not in the club standing up, doing 2-hour sets with it. I play sitting, and so from that standpoint, this Carvin SB5000, I think, works fine for me. And I've never played a Carvin J5, but I'm pretty sure the Carvin J5 and the SB5000 are pretty much the same thing without the, really unique looking top horn or bottom horn. And so, now I got this bass used. I sold my old bass and I got this bass used. The original price I said was about $900, which is probably about, right now, I think Carvin is selling JB5s probably between about $1,400 and $2,200, depending on what you get put on it. And Carvin / Kiesel, or Kaiser, whatever they are now, traditionally have been a really good bases to buy used. They don't necessarily hold their value super high, because you have to order them, and people don't always see a ton of them in stores, so therefore they don't necessarily have the name recognition of some brands. And so therefore they're always pretty good price used. And so like I said, I got this at a good price, and it's a good bass. It's a really, really, really good bass. I mean, this is American-made bass, excellent hardware. Now, the tuner's a little bit different. It has closed back tuners. These are Godas, I think. Oh, no, they're Carvin tuners, but they're kind of Goda-style tuners. Usually on Fender-style basses, you have open back tuners instead of closed tuners like this. And so aesthetically, that's a little bit different. But, if you want a bass with good jazz sound, but you don't have to have a bass that really has a Fender-style silhouette, if you can find a used SB5000, it's a great deal, especially if you don't mind a full-size jazz body, and maybe a little weight on it. I can imagine the Carbon JB5s are just as nice, or they may have improved some things. I don't have experience with those, so I can't vouch for that. But given Carvin's track record, I see no reason why it wouldn't be good. But anyway, like I said, this is my modern jazz, and happy to have it. Have a good day.